This is Advisor 3.0, a show designed to help you as a financial advisor elevate your professional practice, transform your clients' lives, and take your business to the next level. I am Abraham Okusanya. Welcome to the show. There aren't many professions where you can build a great career, build a great business, make a great living, and make a meaningful, positive impact on your clients and the wider professions. But of course, that's the beauty of this business of financial planning. And my guest today has done all of that. Kit Butten is the founder and director of Boosst, the boutique financial planning business based in beautiful Bedfordshire.
This is correct. We are right on the border of Buckinghamshire. So we sometimes call ourselves Milton Keynes, but we are technically Bedfordshire.
Bedfordshire is nicer.
Woburn is even nicer.
That's good stuff. Okay, so I've known you in the business for some time now, for over a decade. I've seen you and the great work that you do. But for anyone who's been maybe living under the rock, give us a sense of the journey that you've been on, and that's led to the creation of this beautiful business that is Boosst.
Okay, so if I take you right the way back, it's always good to take you back to. I started out in the Wild West, as I like to tell people, and it was a Wild West. It was horrendous. I was lucky I was at a good company to start with. However, it was a pure sales Wild West. And, obviously part of the work I do mentoring young financial planners is obviously explaining to them how lucky they are not to have to work in the world of mud at the wall, volume sales, et cetera, which is exactly where I was. I do appreciate some are still in that environment today, but it was very, very different to where we are today. So I did that for a number of years, obviously very successful, all the accolades, all the awards. But the truth of the matter is it was poor. The only good thing that's come out of that period is that we've still got clients today, almost 40 years next year later.
Wow.
And some of the people we serve today, I picked up as clients in my very first year. In actual fact, tomorrow I've got somebody coming to see me for a meeting who was a client in the very second year. So he's been a client for about 39 years, 38 years, something like that. Yeah. So, that's the wonderful business that we're in. So that's background, start there, moved on from there, got out of that as soon as I could really. Built a IFA business, self-employed advisors, complete mess. At one time, we were really successful according to everybody else. But the truth of the matter is we had 6 advisors, if you want to call them that, product floggers, advisors, whatever they were. And the truth of the matter is that I just sat down one day, assessed everything. I actually drew a diagram of all of the people in the business. I think at one stage we're up to about 18 people. I drew a diagram, all their families, all their mouths, everything that effectively was being fed off the business. And then I looked at the turnover, the profit, et cetera. And I was literally self-producing and running all the business 50% of the turnover.
Wow.
So the other 5 were effectively doing the other 50%. And it didn't take me long to go, enough's enough. But we'll cut back. And then we took the business very quickly back to a much smaller size, ran it as a smaller operation. And then rugby got more and more into my life. So I was through coaching rugby and then became chairman of rugby club. So I was chairman of a rugby club for 9 years. That's the hardest job I've ever done. 120 odd volunteers reporting to me, in terms of running a rugby club. Quite a tough environment. Never going to be liked in a rugby club, making decisions that people aren't going to like, put the price of beer up or anything else. You're never going to be loved in a rugby club. Did that for a good 9 successful years, very successful years. Enjoyed that. But I had to completely change the business to enable that because my rugby was 4 days a week. So Saturday, Sunday plus 2 days in the week. So I was only able to work 3 days. So I had to change the business to make that work. And then merged it in with another business, but on the basis that our little Milton Keynes piece was a sort of a slice of a cake effectively. And that's when took us to the point where Josh came into the business. Josh came into the business. He 18, didn't go to university. He'd been studying. His school was very supportive. So he did the basic exams instead of one of his A-levels. So he did 3 instead of 4. and then sailed through from there and loved it. And, you may remember he was the youngest for just about everything at the time.
Yeah.
And absolutely loves financial planning. So, of course, when we talk about recruitment at some stage, the way to do it is to make them, obviously.
It's incredible. So at what point did the current evolution Boosst?
So that's
started?
what it was. Josh was the driver. So really, Josh was the driver because at that point, not immediately, not when he first joined the business, but within a couple of years, it became clear that he was taking it seriously.
Right, yes.
So once he was taking it seriously and it was going to be his long term, it could no longer be a lifestyle business for me. It needed to be something that was meaningful, and we had to design something of our own. So we did have the beautiful situation of a blank piece of paper, and we literally built from a blank piece of paper while we're in a perfectly good environment, doing perfectly great lifestyle planning work. We're able to then build, well, what would this new business look like? And we built it from blank. So that was fantastic. That was 2017 effectively. That we made that we sort of effectively moved, launch Boosst. 2018 was sort of a launch period, and then 2019 was when we moved into the new office that we built. Because while we were designing Boosst, we were also dealing with planning, getting the office built, etc., etc. Because so a lot of people might have seen or not seen the pictures of the office, but the lake that the office sits on was all created by us. That wasn't there. So we created the lake, we created the office. So it's a special. Not only did we create a special bit, or we think we created a special business, we think we created a special environment for everybody, clients and team to visit. So
it's such a beautiful. I think of it. You might it's such a beautiful spot with the lake in front of the barn or the office. So chic. Is that the word?
Exactly. Well, a lot of people would look at it from the other side and they think it's a spa.
Yeah.
So it looks more like a spa than a financial planning business.
Right.
But obviously, in the old office, we converted into a gym so that our team can use the gym. Right. And then we've got a pizza oven. So as long as they do enough in the gym, they can use the pizza oven.
It's fantastic. So give us a sense of the business as it is today, Boosst. Give us a sense of, I love my numbers, the clients, the team, AUM metrics, just to understand, because there are a couple of things I want to draw out of that and what you're doing.
Yeah, no, perfect. And we can talk about that. But of course, I've got to give you the first answer to the question about metrics. What are the metrics of Boosst? It's not the metrics that you want or everybody else wants. The metrics of Boosst are quite simple. It's people. Yeah. And there's only two people that matter, and that's the boosters, those within the team. And then it is obviously the people we serve, the clients that become fans. So for us, we introduced a few years ago this thing, fans. We moved away from clients. Clients are really important, but what makes a business is converting them into being true fans of the operation and what you're doing. So for us, metrics are all based off of the people because it's the people. And yes, there's different metrics you might want to look at in relation to those people, but the proportion of your client base that are true fans is a much better metric than those other numbers that we'll come on to. But, because I know you like those numbers, I will give them to you. It's our end of business year next week, end of May. So we'll be 2.8 million turnover. We'll be 1.2 million profit. We'll be 450 million, pushing towards 500 million of AUM. Obviously, AUM's just not a driver. We are complete opposite. We are telling everybody to spend their money. Yeah. So AUM can't possibly be a driver for us. It is a business measurement, of course, in our world, but it absolutely can't be the driver of anything at all, because otherwise you wouldn't have a lifestyle financial planning business if you're measuring it by that.
Yeah, that's incredible. And in terms of planners, as you would call it, so you have 4 planners, we got 4 that are dealing with individual clients. And then we've got one, so whether you call one half that deals with enterprise work, looking after our company schemes and enterprise members. Because that's something that we've always done. I used to love doing it. It's quite an interesting bit of our business. We have a bit of fun. Josh and I, you can appreciate, we get on very well and we have a lot of fun between us. So
we always have a bit of a laugh and a joke about the fact that the enterprise side of the work, because I say it's really hard work seeing 20 people in a day and non-stop meetings. It's very tiring.
Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't really enjoy it, so I just take the mickey and say it's too difficult for him. But, of course, it's not really the truth. He could do it all day standing on his head. But the simple fact is, he really likes the deep lifestyle financial planning work, as we all do. So, that side of our business at the moment, it's pretty stagnant. We're not really pushing it hard. It is an opportunity for us. If we had the desire to, there is a huge opportunity for anybody that wants some people getting started in our profession. It is not a bad way to build a really good business, is to go and build a really good enterprise service to companies to truly look after their people. But you've got to be careful the type of companies you work with. But you choose the same as any business, choose your clients right, and that's a great business. Yeah,
no, that's incredible. So we'll double click into the enterprise business, but I want to come back to just the headlines, for now, which is basically you have, twice the average advisor revenue and about, 3 times the profitability. So you're operating the business at effectively, 45% pre-tax profit, which is completely different than what you see out there when you look at the median figure.
Yeah.
What do you think explains that outline success? How do you think about it?
I think that there's a few different things in there. It just comes down to the right fee structure. So a cheaper fee structure than most, which obviously sounds odd. Well, hold on a minute. How do you got more revenue if you've got a lower fee revenue? But I'm a great believer, and we're great believers, that if you get the fee model better, the type of client you can then deal with significantly improves. And then it's all about fan selection. And it's all about the client selection and the fan selection. It's all about picking off the right ones. You need, in our little business, we need 150, 160 referrals a year, but we only need 48 new fans, 48 new clients. So, we're picking off 1 in 6 of those that come through. One give me numbers right. 1 in 3.
1 in 3
of those that come through the door. So, when you're only picking off 1 of 3, and they're all coming from referrals, you are in a very good position to deal with the right type of people. And if you deal with the right type of people, everything else takes care of itself.
And so you have the advisor deals with corporate or enterprise, but all the other advisors are dealing with personal clients.
Yeah, correct.
And what's the structure like? Do you have a lead advisor or servicing advisor? How do you think about it?
So every client has a lead advisor.
Right.
We move the lead advisor around. It's not a lead advisor for life. So there'll be a lead advisor that's the right person. So there'll be a lead advisor. So I'm lead advisor personally. So my numbers, you appreciate, I've gradually brought my numbers down. So today my target is to be lead advisor to 50. I've currently got far more than that. I'm more like 65, 70. But that's because, we've just got a batch that I can't really, it's not the right time in their lives. As old age, illnesses. Now wouldn't be a time for me to pass them on. Right. So, I'm doing a few more than I might have planned to do. But I'm fitting it into my schedule, so it works for me. For the others, it's all about service levels. So the key to boosst, and this is something I've talked about many times, is service levels. And I fundamentally believe that service levels is important. And of course, there are those purist, and I am a purist lifestyle financial planner. Absolutely. That is our lead. That's what we do we think that's the service for everybody. The truth is, it isn't the service for everybody. There are people in different stages of life that don't need everything that might be in that service. So we've crafted effectively 4 services. So we've got 4 service levels. We always lead with new clients for what we call full boost, full-blown financial planning, lifestyle planning, all about changing lives, nothing to do with money. But we've got other services. We used to have 3. So we used to have a little boost, which was the next one. And then we realized that we needed to have, that was too low a cost for the complexity. We stupidly at the beginning of Boost thought that full boost, full financial planning and little boost, maybe for the children of clients, that would be all we would need. And then we realized, hold on a minute, there are some people that just don't really fit full-blown cash flow lifestyle planning, but they've got real complexity in technical areas, mainly because pension rules over that period have got more and more difficult. So, of course, they need calculations, they need technical support. So we've had to put in a price point in between. So being boosst, and we like to keep things simple because we're simple people, we have a little more boosst. As you see, very simple. And then we've got a non-service level as well, which I think a lot of people in the profession have sort of struggled with a bit. The regulatory and the compliance people, how do you have a service level where you promise people you're going to do nothing in terms of meetings, face-to-face, virtual, no meetings at all, no contracted meetings, but you are going to give them a list of things. It's very clear what those list of things are, and they can choose to have it and they can choose to pay for it. And we've got clients that absolutely like that service for certain small number of situations in life. So the service levels, when you ask about profitability, the service levels is what really helps that, because it then controls the workflows and means that we're doing things and cap and collars on all fees.
Yeah.
So cap and collars are important.
So give me a sense of I understand the service level. You say fee is a key part of the success. Give me a sense of the fees that come with the service level. How do you cap and collar it? What does that look like?
Well, in terms of what it looks like, I mean, if you start at the bottom, you got the little boosst. So we're like £950 a year, that type of figure. A little more boosst, just under 2,000 a year, and then up to full boosst at getting close to 3,000 a year.
Okay.
So there's the price points in terms of the minimums. Not many clients are paying the minimums. They are the minimums, but they are there so that people are clear that that's their minimum cost.
That's the entry point.
That's the entry point for each of those services. Yeah, absolutely. And what we don't do is we don't have people choose their service level based on price.
Right.
Price is the outcome of the service they need. So we don't have somebody come along and say, well, I only want to pay £900 a year, I'll have that, please. That's not the conversation. It's about, we've got a grid, got a very, a bit like a software company would have. You've got your grid of different services. Well, for you really need this bit of our service. Therefore, this is the service for you. So for somebody that needs, I don't know, carry forward or, calculations, technical stuff, they can't have.
They can't have little boosst.
No, absolutely
have to.
Absolutely not. No. So that's basically how that works as a structure. But it's something we've spoken about. I've talked about it at conferences many times. I know different firms got different views, but I do believe that, especially for those firms that want to have a few advisors and you want to bring trainees through, by having different services, you can get them dealing with clients in different ways and progress them. Nobody becomes an outstanding financial planner quickly. Right. So therefore, you've got to have a way of developing your people.
Yeah, you've been super generous, and with your time and wisdom. And one of the things I love about this business is how generous people are with the. I know we'll come back to it on your masterclass for a younger advisor. You did your crazy guy presentation at the IFP. So I am sure many others are indeed grateful for sharing that knowledge and insights. I think it's important.
Yeah, and I think, more than just me sharing, it's not just me sharing knowledge. We have made a conscious decision as Boosst to show the whole financial planning community the inside workings of Boosst. So, we're not putting anything, we're openly sharing. And if people want to, obviously copying somebody is just flattery, really. As I say to everybody, please don't just copy, put a bit of creativity into things. But the fact is, we'd rather improve the profession by an open door and showing things. Because for us, it's much more important. Boosst is never going to be short of clients based on what we're seeing at the moment. People love what we do. They're walking through the door. It's a great place to be. Therefore, we can afford to help our competitors all around the UK and not see them as competitors. So there's no competitive reason not to do it. The profession needed it because the profession, and I do believe the profession has improved massively in the last 5 to 10 years, massively. And that's a credit to the sort of people you were thinking about when you said that people are given their time, and all the people, not only those who have given their time, but all the people that have also, the consultants that are around that are charging for their time, but are doing it with quality material, quality information. There's a real bunch of people that we can all look to that are helping us to make this profession a whole lot better than it was only 10 years ago.
What do you say to an advisor today who might be, let's say, in that average advisor that I talk about, which is, this is FCA data, a solo advisor doing £250,000 of revenue and about 80 grand of pre-tax profit, but actually it's more like 50 once you've factored the full compensation. How do they elevate their thinking and their delivery to boosst level? How do they boost?
How do they boost themselves? Well, I think, obviously, there's that first thing. You've got to, first of all, be somebody who truly wants to run a financial planning business.
Yeah.
Be the lone person at the beginning, or do it with a couple of people, be the lone people. But, you've got to understand everything you're taking on. Josh and I, obviously, whilst we talk about it and we're talking about all the stuff that's above the water and looks pretty, beneath it, there's a lot that's gone on to make things and get things where they are. So when we think about this for, those that are taking it on, I honestly believe there's a whole lot of people and people that I met last week at Trap Live and then at Advisor 3.0, that are looking to go on their own, which is fantastic. But there's a lot that are probably looking to go on their own that really would be better off in a home.
Right.
Because the kind of incomes you're talking about, the kind of turnover you're talking about, they can probably, if they become an outstanding financial planner in an employed environment, and if it happened to be one where they've got a share of the profit, why on earth would you go out and do it on your own when you can do it as part of a machine, as long as that machine is all the things that we talk about, truly independent, et cetera, et cetera. But if you are cut out to be your entrepreneurial business person, that is you, and that's definitely you, and you can cope with the sleepless nights, etc. Then you've got to start.
You're really selling this.
Well, you've got to be able to, it's important. That I was worrying about something last night. So, we all have things that we have to worry about if you're going to run a business. And there's so many things that obviously you have to deal with that are nothing to do with what most financial planners love, which is sitting down with clients.
Yeah.
So, it is hard for a Keith and a Josh to get our client time, which we love. That's hard when you're doing everything else as well. So you've got to be very structured, very disciplined. But for those that feel that they're absolutely cut out and right for it, I think there's things I've already said. Build your business right from the get-go with a blank piece of paper and do it while you're working somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't suddenly jump into a network and then try and do it. Networks, are a danger, a real danger to those advisors. Yes, there's one or two networks that I'm sure will be better than others. Of course there are. And at the moment with the FCA apparently making it so difficult for people to get authorised, getting pushed towards these networks. And these networks, and there's some, and I'm sure there will be independent firms, maybe a boosst type firm, but decides to go a different path where they just become a quasi-network effectively and start having self-employed advisors, employed advisors, and a bit of a mixed blend. For me, that's not where I would see it for that person. I would see that person would be much better off getting a really good grounding somewhere, but then having a blank piece of paper and a simple business plan, because it's not difficult to work out what you need to do. The client is at the forefront of everything, every single thing. When we built Boosst, there was 3 parties that we had to think about. So we had a simple Venn diagram, very, very simple. Every business obviously has something similar, but we applied it to every decision. Team, and when we first started, we put clients first. We soon changed that. We realized that team comes before clients. Then we got clients, and then we got shareholders. And I'm talking about Boosst at the beginning, prior to the EOT. So we had the 3 circles. And when we had the 3 circles, every decision had to sit in the middle. Why are we doing this? Is it good for the team? Is it good for the client? So if there's something that's really good for the clients, but going to be a real pain for the business, don't do it. And I hear everyone say, you've got to do that because it's good for the clients. No, if it's bad for your business, you don't. So you've got to do things that are good for the team, good for the clients. Everything's got to be good for clients, and it's got to be good for the shareholders. And if you've got that mentality right from the get-go, that will help you to control margins. And you've got to set out, you might not set out with a 40% margin target at day one, but you might set out with a sensible margin target, not we're going to break even or whatever. You've got to straight away, even from a get-go beginning advisor, you've got to be thinking, right, I've got to start building a 20% margin. I've got to get to that point as quick as I can. Then I knock it up. And get it to a sensible place. And for me, all of that can be done with a blank piece of paper, because there are lots of people like me around that will give tips to these people that want help. It's up to them what they take from that.
Yeah, indeed. So let's talk about this, which you've done well. Developing talent and bringing people into the business. You literally have to make one of them your advisors, but you've had the experience of bringing people, either younger, new people, they go through the ranks of, power planning and then became a financial planner. How have you approached that? And also, how do you manage this thing with compensation in terms of paying these people well, but also investing in them to grow? Tell me more about that.
So what we've done, and we won an award for our Bright to Boost development program. Won an award back in 2020 when it won an award, and we've shared that again, given it out to lots of people. It's on the website for firms that want to just go and mirror it and build their own. Please don't copy it exactly the same, but mirror it and do something. But for us, there's a couple of key points within it. First of all, setting the stall out that we're only interested in, the end goal is outstanding financial planners. Now that will cost us people, because we will talk to people who will just be frightened as soon as we're going to get you to be outstanding. Well, that's frightening for some people. So of course that's off-putting, but it is our goal. That is, we've not cut back on that. We know it will put some people off, but we do want to build and develop people. We want outstanding clients, outstanding individuals within the business to serve them. So that's first thing, is what is this thing trying to achieve? So you've got to know what a high-performing, outstanding financial planner looks like, what their skill sets are, how they deal with people, how they interact with people. So that they've got to have obviously care cut in half, and it's care's inside their blood. So they've got to be the right people. But the actual program, I think one of the other key things for us was, as you're going through the qualification journey, and for us that qualification journey is all the way through CII with the ROs initially, then sticking with CII for the AFs, but only doing 3 AFs, then doing the CFP after that. So we go right the way through to level 7. But on that journey, when they're doing a tax exam, let's say, we do everything we can within the business to try and give them as much of the tax work as possible. So all the time. So we're lucky that at the size we are, we've got a technical person within the business, and that person is purely technical. That's their role. And, by having that person, we can make sure that, when there's something that, Raya's currently doing her whatever exam, bang, I'll give her that work, give her that work, give her that work. So we realize that by simply marrying the work with the person's stage of their journey, and having the person that can oversee and help them, effectively that's better than any training you could get in a classroom. Yeah. Because it's on the job, it's real clients, it's happening, it's real, and it's just workflow that we've got to get done anyway. Right. It might mean the exercise takes, an hour instead of half an hour. But so what? We're training people. So for us, that's the kind of investment. The unseen investment is, Nick, our technical chap, saying to Nick, look, don't just do it yourself in half an hour. Go and spend an hour, and that's not efficient use of his time, but it's very efficient for the business. And at that point, they are para planners or associates. We don't really, para planners for us is an odd word, isn't it? Right. I think for all of us, it's an odd word. Yeah. We said long ago that a para planner that writes reports shouldn't really exist inside the walls of the building. So most of our report writing, we've tried to do outsourced. Yeah. So obviously, we have lovely suitability letters because we have to, and they're produced outside and they're as clean and as nice as we can make them. But that's not really a function. It's not a client function where the team is working on clients. Understood. So within the business, what those people are doing is obviously somebody comes in right at the beginning of the journey. And at the moment, we've got a gap at the moment. So we've currently got an opportunity for somebody. But right at the moment, 1 year, just over a year, Ryan T, who's was an ex-professional golfer. So he is our, least experienced person within the team right now. So he'll be doing, he's already building, he's only 1 year and 2-3 months in, but maybe 3-4 months. So, but he's already building. He's finished all his ROs. He's done his first AF and got his pass. So he's passed one AF already, which is pretty fast. It's very quick. But because he's done so well, what he's done is he's created a job behind him. Right. So we've already congratulated him and said, you have created a job. Well done. Brilliant. But what he's actually doing in his day work is already doing a bit of truth work.
Okay.
We wouldn't expect on our development pathway to have somebody building, full-blown cash flow plans.
A year.
A year and a few months, and he's doing it. So that's an example of somebody who's good. In the past, we had somebody where we had to slow them down a little bit. They wasn't quite accurate enough. And, to be fair, that person moved on, went to another couple of firms, and has actually just won an award. So, congratulations to him. He'll know who he is. But so he's won an award elsewhere, which is great. But, in our definition, he would have made outstanding with us. But from our point of view, we felt he had to slow him down. Whereas with Ryan T, so I think fluidity in a development program is really important. So I think there's some of the key things. You also asked about money. Money's dead simple at Boosst. It's very, very simple at Boosst because obviously we're all employed. There's no self-employed. Everybody's employed. There's a salary there. Our salary will probably be less than certainly not London salaries. Absolutely for sure. So our salary might be a bit less than elsewhere, but we have a team bonus, and of course because we're now EOT. 3,600 of that team bonus is paid tax-free.
Right.
But that's based on some metrics for the whole team, and it's been paid every single year. I think we've had that bonus in place now for about 15 years. We've changed it with the EOT, changed the structure of it, moved it around a bit to meet the EOT structuring. But effectively, there's been some kind of additional reward that every team member gets because within Boosst, it's not all about the financial planners. I know some financial planners listening to this will be really sad to hear that it's not all about them. I thought it was all about me once upon a time.
Yeah.
But obviously, you do realise that to build a proper team and to serve everybody, it is about everybody. And the bonus structure we've got. Josh and I don't have any of those bonuses. Actually, we do now. It's quite funny with EOT. We had to come into the bonus scheme, which was quite nice. So because we're just salaried now, so we had to be paid the EOT bonus, which was nice. But looking at the team, everybody is getting the same, apart from people on our leadership, not Josh and I. The other Jenny at the moment is on our leadership, so she gets double what the others get. But it's all transparent. Everybody sees the bonuses. Everybody knows how it works. Anybody can look at it any day to see what bonus they're on target for, and we pay that bonus out twice a year. So every 6 months they get a new bonus.
It's good.
So that filters into the reward structure. And then, of course, we pay for everything in terms of all their development, all their exams. Obviously, everything is funded. And, of course, there's all the pensions, private medical and all the other benefits. So people at Boosst are very well looked after. And at the moment, they're now 4 years away from the point when they'll start to see profit share over and above the team bonus.
So how many people are in the team? Just out of
right now, 4. We just had our first retiree, which was lovely. We just had a retiree, so she did just under 10 years and retired. She is a client, so we got her retired well. So that's good. So we're down to 14. We've got one already joining us, so she's coming in the summer in quite a senior role actually. And we've currently got 2 vacancies that we're looking to fill. One's the trainee planner behind Ryan is one of those. And we've got a power planner opportunity as well.
So you get to 16 people in the team.
17. That will get by the end of the year. We'd like to be at 17. We'd like to be at 17 now. If we found the perfect people, we'd be at 17 now.
And Jenny's operations director.
Yeah, practice manager. Practice manager. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So she's on the leadership team. So
all right. So I have a challenging one for you. Come on then. Which is this is my numbers. So you're doing. 1.2 million pounds of profit. I'm going to apply the hand of God to that and say, you've created, 12 million pounds of value, of equity value. I'm just multiplying by 10.
Yeah, fair enough.
Other people might have their own EBITDA multiplication, but I'm whatever. Yeah. And then, and this is your life work.
Yep.
It's taking you 40 years, of doing this, but ultimately you started Boosst with Josh,
Yep.
who, you've collectively built this thing.
Yep.
Explain to me, as a capitalist that I am, why you've then decided I am going to, transfer this, sell this, whatever you call it, into an EOT, and spend 8 years extracting this value. Explain it to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's nothing to do with money. So that's the starting point. So your focus is on money and numbers.
Yeah.
So if you were a client of mine, I'd be wanting to dig into that. You've obviously not got enough, and you're obviously focused on all the wrong things in your life. So we'll have to have a really deep financial planning to find out your problem. My problem is, and Josh's problem, both of our problems, is that we have got enough, and that is a fundamental problem. As to, what do you do when you've got enough. But it's got nothing to do with tax and money. It's got everything to do with the shit show that's going on in our profession. It's got everything to do with what we stand against. It's got everything to do with what we stand for. So, if I was to take you through all of the Boosst values, we start talking about fierce independence and the things that we stand for. It was so obvious once we dug into it. And we had to dig it. This is the second time we dug into it. So we dug into it the first time, and there was something that I believed and I was told by a professional that meant it wasn't right for Josh. So we just kiboshed it, and we were thinking, right, we'll do the traditional father-son family business.
Right.
The business would buy my shares, close my shares. If I retired, I'd get entrepreneur's relief. If I didn't retire, I wouldn't, which is a bit of a nonsense because in our profession, why would you retire somebody that likes the job, working 3 days, blah, blah. So there's lots of reasons not to do that route. But when we went back the second time and I looked at it, somebody spoke to me, and what they said to me, and I think this is really important, and I'm happy to talk about this because I really want to get some of this stuff. And I think I need to do some detailed sessions with some good financial planners so that they actually understand the opportunity that is there through employee ownership. Because first of all, I fundamentally believe that my position is not different to the really good financial planners we all know who run in their own shows, i.e., they care massively about their teams. They care massively about their clients, and they do not want to be walking down the road in 5 years' time, bumping into clients, hearing how their fees have gone up and their clients change and everything's a mess and Mary in the office has gone and all that stuff. So for me, I think there's a lot of people that could take a lot from some of the things. I'll touch on a little bit of it, and we can't cover it in great detail, but I'll do my best. So first of all, for me, the most important person in this was Josh, because whichever of the routes I'd have gone, it would have given me money, and that combined with what I've got already meant we got enough. So it wasn't really about us, as in my generation of the family. It was about Josh's generation. I've only got one child, so it's simple. That might be more difficult if I had multiple children and one wasn't a financial planner. That might be more difficult, but we're nice and simple. One child, financial planner, loves the business, all the same values, et cetera, et cetera. So in that situation, what I was able to do was to increase his shareholding. So Josh had a shareholding, I think, doing this from memory now, I think he had about 7% shareholding, deserved more. And obviously I promised him more. Obviously if that was somebody you didn't have a connection with, you might not have trusted them, but Josh and I trust each other. So he knew that I would stick to that. So we moved him up to 35%. So before doing the transaction, Josh was up to 35%. And the bit of magic advice that we got was the fact that what the trustees can do of an EOT, which we didn't appreciate when I looked at it the first time, is that they can issue shares to anybody in the business to have direct shares. So we can issue direct shares. So when I realised that, I was like, hold on a minute. Right, okay, so who is there in the business today that if we're selling this, who does the business need to hold? Well, it clearly needs to hold Josh. That's not, nobody in Boosst would deny that. And Jenny is fundamental to the business as well. I've been there since day one, since the blank page. So, we decided, well, Jenny needs a share. Josh needs shares. So Josh then chose out of his own because of his marriage to Gabby, which is a whole other story.
Yeah. It was also a planner, by the way. A good one.
That was a great way to. I had my way of creating a financial planner, which was to make one.
Josh had
his, which was to marry one. So I think there could be some looking in at Boosst going, it's all a bit weird at Boosst. But we haven't got any more sons to marry or daughters to give away, so that's not happening anymore. So they've basically, as part of the transaction, we sold 100%. So you might have heard that when people do an EOT, a lot of the consultants will tell them to sell 51%.
Right, yeah.
Get paid for your 51%, get your whole team motivated.
Right.
And then in a few years down the track, 5, 6, 7, whatever it takes to get paid your 51% of your value. And it is full market value.
Right.
So,
yes. You get the value, whatever they value.
We at the time, we got a couple of value. We got a full value, and then we got a value that we were comfortable with.
Okay.
And the value that we were comfortable with, it wasn't quite the full value, but it was plenty for both of us. So by being able to have those shares to the individuals, by Josh and myself deciding to sell 100% and not doing that sell 51, motivate the team. I've got another 49% to sell at the inflated value.
Yeah.
So we decided that wasn't the path for us. We decided it was cleaner to do 100%, be honest with the team. Transparency and honesty is so important to us. Honest with the team. Here's 100%. This is what we're going to do. None of it, the name is a misnomer. So again, this is a thing that causes a problem. It is not an employee ownership trust. So that's a complete nonsense name. Like many of the names of products that we deal with, some of them are stupid. There's a stupid name because the employees own nothing.
Yeah.
It's not ownership. So
the trust
is employee beneficial ownership trust because the employees are all the beneficiaries. Josh and I and Gabby, unfortunately. So Gabby cannot be a beneficiary because she's married to Josh.
Interesting.
So she misses out. So Gabby misses out completely. Josh obviously can't be a beneficiary because he was one of the founders that sold, and I can't be because I was one of the founders that sold. So 3 of us can't be a beneficiary. So, if we've got 17 people later this year, by default, my wife as well, Linda, she's in that 17, she can't be a beneficiary. So there are only 13 people to share the profits in the future. And as you would say, well, hold on a minute, Keith. And there's I won't name him, but he'll be listening and he knows who he is. A very good friend of mine, financial planner. He had the same conversation with me. He said, "You're mad. You're using your profits to buy your shares off yourself. Those profits belong to you anyway. Just carry on running the business and keep." I said, "Look, and I had to explain it, same as I explained to you. It's not about the money. It's not about the tax. It's simply about how the business is best owned to be infinite." Because what Josh realized was 20 years' time, he's got the problem that I've got.
A bigger one, because this business is going to be, 1 billion plus. I mean, more actually, because
obviously we grow up more than 10% a year. So, we all know the rule of 72. We're double it. We're going to double, 7 years, we're going to double at least. Yeah. So probably quicker. So of course, that's a sizable business in 20 years' time when it's, quadrupled. So that's a problem. So Josh didn't want that problem down the track. So what we felt was this route gives Josh the opportunity on the track to make sure that the team that we want stays with us, because once they're starting to get their profit distributions in a few years' time, it's going to be a strange person that leaves Boosst. Yeah. Because they're going to be getting significant profit distributions. So that's quite interesting. So all of a sudden, the salary conversation changes completely. It's no longer about the salary. It's about the salary and the profit share and what that might equate to, and how much Josh and the team, myself, whoever's involved, will decide to pay out. So when you look at the benefit now of, you've got the shares, majority of the shares benefit of the whole team. You've got your key people, and as we find new leaders from within or bring them from outside, Josh brings any leaders in or develops any from inside, he can give them shares, or he can't. He can ask the trustees to, but obviously he's only got to put forward a good business case. And if he's got a really good business case for somebody to have shares, they'll be having them. So that then gives recruitment and retention opportunities with actual shares. So there's a lot of opportunity to take the business forward, keep it infinite, and build. And Josh has got a runway of 20 to 30 years to build, Gen 3. Not be in a situation where suddenly he's got to go and find a buyer in the next 3 years. So that's the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's incredible. I understand. Instinctively, I understand this thing that you're solving for as an entrepreneur, which is this infinite game. You want to build a business that lasts. You want to build a business that endures. Now, some people are going to listen to this and say, yeah, I just want to, make money, which is not an aspiration that I criticize. I think there is profit motive is important. So I totally understand what you're solving for. You seem to imply, and then you backed off from it, that this thing that we're seeing in the profession of guys and girls who've created a meaningful business, and that business being bought and taken over and frankly subsumed into other structures, that are you worried about the implication for the profession? Or?
Well, I'm worried for them. So I'm worried for the clients of those firms. I'm worried for the people working in those firms, and I'm worried for what they're going to feel like, the week after the check. Only this morning, when I had a friend came to visit last night, and this morning we're having a bit of breakfast, sold a business, nothing to do with financial planning.
Yeah.
But it's exactly that situation. 4 buyers, chose the one out of the 4 that promised to keep it all the same, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, he popped into his old business to see the old staff. A couple are gone, and pay rise this year was only 2%, and Christmas bonus didn't take place. And I just smiled and just said, that is exactly the problem. So I feel for those people that are in that situation. For the profession, those of us that stay fiercely independent, oh my God, the opportunity we got is incredible.
Yeah,
we have got an incredible opportunity because, clients are going to get this. They are going to get it, and they're going to see it more and more. They're going to get it more and more. And I know that, there'll be clients that will be very happy with their consolidated IFOs giving great service. But equally, there will be wise, wealthy clients that will just not want that. They will want somebody that sits in their corner, lifestyle planner, somebody that leads by example, lives life by example. And that'll be probably another tip.
That's the one that we should
talk about living by example. It's all about living by example.
We should talk about that. EOTs is one route. I mean, the thing I've been thinking about is, can you have another route, this management buyout, where your people that you've grown will, but again, I understand financing challenges.
Got to find,
around that.
But those to me, they are the 2 routes.
Right.
For me, there's 2. And I think I've probably gone on record as saying, whether it's an MBO that works for a business or an EOT, my thing for all those firms thinking about selling out to consolidator is, please go and explore. I would recommend you go and explore those 2 routes. If you want help exploring the EOT, speak to us, speak to others. There's 8 firms in the UK, I believe now, that are EOT that I know of. Hopefully there'll be more.
Oh, there's more. I'm sure.
You think it might be more, but there's at least 8, so that's good. But, there'd be lots that go down the MBO route, and that'll work too.
All right, let's talk about, it's a funny theme to end, which is about enjoying, living by example, and as you put it, spending clients' money.
So that was part of the part of the crazy guy presentation. So we probably should just talk about how the crazy guy presentation itself, because I not only did it in a CISI conference in Windsor, I didn't just do it there. Last year, I took that presentation to Brisbane, to Sydney, and to Cape Town.
Nice.
So that presentation I delivered 4 times last year in 4 days. And it was just a challenge. I like to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And obviously I challenge myself with things outside of financial planning. And I just decided that actually I've never seen it done where somebody stands on, I'm fed up of going to presentations where it's all scribed and boring. And let's just do something where the audience is in control.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about whatever. I'm going to give them massive 24 topics, audience votes. I'll talk just to show that we can talk about any one of the topics. As it turned out, that the audience did fall for the trick. They chose spending clients' money, how it bought me a boat. And of course, that was a trap, because clearly it isn't the client's money that's bought the boat. It is hard-earned profit and money that's been generated over time. But the boat is an important part of the recent story for me personally, because COVID came along, got in the way of life. I was busy traveling, seeing the world, having a great time, had my 100 days holidays. And all of a sudden, this thing called COVID came along, and I had to think outside the box like we all did. And having done that, I went down to Marina, had a weekend down in Bray, just booked a cottage, had a weekend away. And that time when it was all bubbles and all the outdoor that we had to do at the time. And at that time, I went to Marina. We just went for a walk around the Marina. And there's all these people on their boats. So I went out in the office and I said, are they allowed to use their boats? But yes. I went, hold on a minute, this could get interesting. So I then dug in, and then we had some time away going to different marinas around the UK, gave us some more weekends away during that summer of challenge where we were all distancing in pub gardens. And then bought the first boat, ran that for a couple of years, upskilled, learnt everything. It was all very hairy at first because the boat was a lot bigger than I should have bought for a first boat. So I had to learn very quickly, but got myself upskilled. And then sold it for a profit. So everyone says you lose money on boats. That's interesting. Yeah. So sold the first one for a small profit. Basically got back everything I'd put into it because we'd improved it a bit. So I got all the money back on what we'd improved on it. Actually, a friend of ours bought it who still got it and loves it, which is great. And then we bought a new one in 2023. So she's now 3 years old. The first one was called Inspiration of Handball. This one's called Inspire. So obviously fits with it. But in that period just after COVID, every single client that I said, do you fancy having your meeting on the boat or at the office? Yeah. Every single client was like, yep, I'll come to the boat. So it was wonderful that we had meetings on the boat, and a very relaxed 2021 when obviously life was not quite so simple.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So the clients get to come to the boat. You get to walk on the boat. Yeah, absolutely. You're in London right now, and
exactly. To travel around, going up the Thames for the summer. So we'll be doing that through the summer. A few meetings along the way. Yeah. Obviously, lots of stuff on Zoom, which is easy.
You save hotel costs now.
I don't have the challenges of hotels, which is nice. And then just recently, we now just got a place in Portugal as well. Nice. So we now got a holiday home there. So we can now split life between Portugal, boat, and home, and move between the three. So. Yeah,
the thing I love about this business of financial planning is it's where you make it. Lifestyle financial planning. You're living your dream that you plan. You're helping clients. Yeah. Why would you stop doing this? Would you stop doing this?
I've literally, and I think everyone's saying, "Oh, you're going to stop. You're going to stop." Clients ask me obviously regularly. I think we've now got 5 reasons for me to stop. Yeah. So there are 5 reasons. And we haven't talked about, I had cancer in 2017. So that got in the way of life a little bit at 2017, which we've not spoken about. But, the sort of 5 reasons that we've laid out and said. And one of them is straightforward one for any financial planner, which is if I'm losing my technical knowledge, if I'm losing my knowledge and ability and clarity of thought, then that in itself would be a reason just to stop for sure. Obviously, enjoyment and pleasure is another. No, it's not happening yet. And I test myself with that quite regularly because obviously I lead training and get involved in topics, and the team tell me that I can still contribute, so that's good.
but it's also the other way around, isn't it? I have seen there is some evidence, I'm sure that you know of, that shows that when people actually stop the mental engagement and contribution, it can lead to some sort of deterioration in mental capacity as well.
Exactly. And that's why, so we have a whole host of things we've not spoken about today, but we got a whole host of things that we call beyond the money. Right. So the reason we've been able to turn clients into fans is all of the things that we've done beyond the money. And it's probably those things that helped us to win the Financial Planning Firm of the Year again this year. And we won that, because of the things that we're doing outside of the traditional financial planning. So we've got a retirement playbook that we built and shared, and I think you might have seen it at the conference. But that's got those types of things. It's those things that people, where do you find your purpose, et cetera, et cetera. And for me, I like to have multiple purposes. For me, it's not about a purpose; it's multiple purposes, and that's where the masterclasses and the giving back all comes from. It's wanting to give back, wanting to share, and helping people as best we can. So for me,
we must have you back. Our audio technician is going to kick us out of the room. Keith, it's been wonderful talking to you, inspiring talking to you. Thank you for your contribution to this mighty profession and for all that you do. I'm deeply grateful. I'm sure our audience have enjoyed listening to you, share your incredible story. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lovely to come and see you today. Take care. And I say the same about Advisor 3.0 because
thank you.
I've been now for 2 years and I really enjoy it. And most importantly, it's the thing last year that made me realise that the young people in our profession, I've massively improved in the last few years because the quality of some of the young people was really pleasing to see. So if you've done a bit towards that, and I've done a bit towards that, and a lot of other people have, we can all be proud. Well
Absolutely.
Done.
Thanks. Thank you. That's a wrap on today's show. Massive thanks to my production crew, especially Jake Osha, Melissa Canham, and the entire team. And of course, to our sponsor, Timeline, the market-leading provider of integrated planning technology and model portfolio service to advisors. I do hope you've enjoyed today's show. Head over to Apple Podcast and give us your review there. Until next time, goodbye.